What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Laughing Man Network's Fantasycast. We're in week 5. This is episode 5.5. Today we're going to get into buy low, sell high, and we're going to get into our sits and starts of the week. But as always, please help us out, help us grow, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm working on right now getting some guys to come in, help guest host the show, help to teach me a few things, help the channel grow. So stick around for that. I'm excited to get some people in here. So until then, we got to truck on through week 5. So let's start out with buy lows, sell high. First up, we're going to look at quarterbacks. My buy low quarterback top guy is going to be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is still producing right now. He's averaging about 21 points a game. He's QB6. But this is the kind of guy I think you can go get if you have one of these overachieving quarterbacks right now and you want to give up a small piece of somebody who's doing well. Go get Kyler Murray. He's going to get DeAndre Hopkins back. That offense is going to get going. They're going to get Connor going. So if you can go get Murray, go get Murray. I'm all about it. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's going to be coming off of his injury soon. It looks like they're going to give him an extra week to heal. Cooper Rush is doing well. He's 3-0 so far since taking over. So this is going to be good for Dak down the stretch. Dak's normally a top 10 quarterback. They have the weapons. They have Gallup back. Schultz is coming back. They have both their running backs healthy. I think Dak's going to come in, and Dak's going to be able to put up some good numbers through the season. Tom Brady. Tom Brady has always been a top quarterback, at least most seasons, at least the past few years especially. Go get him. He's the GOAT. He's struggling. They played against 3 of the best pass defenses to start the season. He struggled at wide receiver. They had injuries to Godwin, had injuries to Julio Jones. Mike Evans had a suspension. They've been going through it over there, but I think Tom Brady's going to right the ship. He's still getting 40 attempts per game. Go get him. He has his crew back. He's going to score a lot of points down the stretch. The schedule gets a lot easier for him. If you look at the schedule coming up, he's got Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Baltimore, LA Rams, and Seattle. Those are all teams they can score points on. So go get Brady. If you can move off of like a Mahomes, ask for Brady and a piece, go do it. It'll help you down the stretch, especially if you need to round out the rest of your roster. Running backs, James Conner. James Conner is only playing about 66% of snaps. He's getting about 17 touches per game. He's scoring 11 points per game. He's getting the usage, but right now he's just not getting going. He didn't look like he has the juice so far. They've been mixing Eno Benjamin in a little bit. He had that one game where he got a little injured, got a little banged up. I think this offense is going to get better as the season goes on. Like we said before, DeAndre Hopkins is going to come back. That's going to open up some more space for Connor to work. So look forward to Connor having a better season for the rest of the way. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is playing about 49% of snaps. He's getting about 15 touches each week. But his game script is still going to be week to week, depending on how they go. This past week, dominant performance by Chubb. Don't expect that every single week. I think their defense is good enough to have some games where Chubb can just pound the ball the whole game. But I think they're going to have to do some passing as the season goes on. They have some decent offenses in their division. So expect Kareem Hunt to get more work as the season goes on. I think right now he's averaging about 9-10 points a game. He's going to have upside weeks, and they use him in the red zone. So go ahead and get Kareem Hunt if you can. Najee Harris. Najee Harris, he came into the season with a foot injury. He got a little banged up, I believe, in week 2. He's underperforming a bit. That whole offense is underperforming. They just had a big QB switch. I think with that bad offensive line, with their rookie quarterback coming in, Najee can expect that Big Ben usage again, where they're just doing quick dump-offs. They're trying to get Pickett's confidence going. They're making sure he's not taking sacks. He's still averaging about 11 points per game, which is definitely flex-worthy, but that's not the first-round running back that you drafted. And like I said, with Pickett coming back, I think they're going to use Najee a little more. But I think the main winners of Pickett becoming quarterback is going to be Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, as far as the PPR value goes. Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara got banged up in week 2. Week 1. He came back in week 3. He got 22 touches. He's going to continue to get that usage in the offense. The offense is struggling. They want to take pressure off of Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton. Expect Alvin Kamara to get more of his target share, more work. They don't really have anybody behind him. Ingram's not getting going. So expect Kamara to come back, take over, and give you that round 1, early second round value that you were hoping for to begin with. So go get him if you can move off of, if you need to fill out your roster and you want to sell Chubb, get Kamara and get a wide receiver to go with him. I'm okay with that. I think Kamara is going to have a good rest of the season. Wide receivers, my top guy is going to be Brandon Cooks. We all know Brandon Cooks. Consistency is his thing. He's always a wide receiver too. He's still averaging 9 targets a game. He's played against 3 good defenses to start the game. And it's a young offense. They're trying to get going. They haven't been able to decide who they were going to use at running back. But now that Pierce has taken over, I think they have that dual threat guy in the backfield. I think it's going to open up more space for Cooks, especially with Nico Collins coming in and showing that he can produce on the NFL level. Look for Cooks to get going, get more of that wide receiver 2 value that you're used to. And I think right now you can get him pretty cheap from having a pretty underwhelming season so far. Deontay Johnson, the offense is struggling. He hasn't quite gotten going how you were expecting, how that 180 targets that he got with Big Ben. But he's still playing 90% of snaps. He's still getting about 9 targets a game. He's averaging 11.4 points per game, which isn't great. But I think with the quarterback switch that's coming in with Pickett is young. He may not be able to get through his reads. So I think he's going to be looking at Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson on quick slants, quick shots, and you may see that PPR value come up for Deontay Johnson. So find the person who's down on him, see if you can package down, get a running back in Deontay Johnson in your deal, and I think you won't lose too much to your roster. Really cheap guy. This is deep down, deep bench. If you're having trouble down in your flex, here's an underwhelming guy you may be able to just get thrown into a trade. Darnell Mooney. I was up on him at the beginning of the season. I said get rid of him. But I think coming up, you have 7 of the next 8 weeks he's playing against bottom 10 defenses. He's still getting about 5 to 6 targets a game. I think that's going to come up. The passing attempts have come up every game so far. They're not going to be great. I think this team's going to continue to struggle. But against the offenses that he's about to face, I think they're going to force feed him the ball, and he may have a couple of big weeks. He may be worth it in your secondary flex, or if you play a 3-flex league, you may be able to play Darnell Mooney as a fill-in a few times for the next few weeks. And you can also get him cheap, so why not? Michael Gallup, he's playing 64% of snaps on his game back. He got 3 targets. He got his touchdown. We're expecting Dak Prescott back in the next couple of weeks. None of the wide receivers for the Cowboys, but maybe Noah Brown, has really shown out and shown that they can be that number 2 on the offense. I think with Gallup coming back, it's going to open up the field a little bit. Dak likes him. Expect Gallup to have a decent season as long as he can stay healthy. He can give you back in wide receiver 2 value, boom, bust, wide receiver 3 value at least, but he'll be flex worthy. So if you can go get him, you can find the person who's not excited, wants somebody who's producing, who may be risky later on, go ahead and package up, see if you can get Gallup. DeAndre Hopkins, he's not back yet. He's expected to come back by week 7. He had a 6-game suspension. Go get him now. Find the team that's got him. Maybe they're losing games. They need somebody to produce right now, and you're winning, so you can afford that bench spot. Go get DeAndre Hopkins. Marquise Brown is going to be there, so that's going to take some pressure off of him. The guy is averaged in his career. He's averaged wide receiver 8. He's had time to heal from last year's injuries due to the suspension. So expect him to come back healthy. Expect him to produce right away. I'd go ahead and get D-Hop as a throw-in right now while you still can before his value goes up. And Odell Beckham, if you want to try and get Odell Beckham thrown into a deal, he doesn't have a team yet, but he's making the rounds right now, visiting a few teams. We said in the waiver show that he's still in talks with the Rams. A lot of people are still expecting him to sign with the Rams again, but it looks like he's going to weigh his options, check out a few other teams. So if you want to get Odell Beckham as a bottom bench guy, maybe he'll be a good flex for you towards the end of the season. go ahead if you've been winning games and you can afford that bench spot. Tight ends, go ahead and get Pitts. Pitts has been having a rough season in Atlanta. He's not getting the usage that we expected, but Mariota doesn't really check down a whole lot. He doesn't read multiple routes. London's been doing well, but now you got Cordarrelle Patterson, who's going to miss most of the season. So those targets are going to have to go somewhere. They're missing their Swiss Army knife now. So why not go out there and use Pitts? Expect Pitts, his production to come up. He's the tight end 18 right now. He's only averaging 6.2 points per game. There's only one way to go, and that's up. So go ahead and get Pitts. Find the person who's down on him. I'd even be willing to trade back maybe a Higbee, or with DeAndre Hopkins coming back, you may be able to package Ertz back and get Pitts and something else. So go ahead and get him if you can package a few players out and get a deal on him. Schultz. Schultz hasn't had a great start down in Dallas. Dak got hurt week 1. Schultz got hurt. But Schultz is coming back. Dak's coming back. And Dak loves his tight end. So go ahead and get Schultz now. Find the team who's down on him. They've been struggling at tight end. They need a Njoku or something like that. See if you can slip a guy like that in and grab Schultz now before he has his big blow-up week with Dak in a few weeks. So now we'll get into our sell highs. My first sell high is going to be at quarterback. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's the QB3 right now. I said you should sell him last week. He's still doing really well. Mahomes is always going to do really well. But I think there are some quarterbacks, like we said, in the buy lows, like Tom Brady, that you may be able to sell Mahomes, get a Brady or a Murray, and get a wide receiver, a running back, or a tight end or something to help you out elsewhere on your roster. So Mahomes is a good piece that you can sell and you can still make up the points filling in your roster elsewhere. Jared Goff, he's a QB4 right now. Not sure that's sustainable. We've seen Jared Goff before. We've seen him up and down. We've seen him not be able to finish the season out. So I would maybe sell Goff, go get one of those guys that I said buy low, see if you can package him up, get a Murray, package him down, even get a Brady if they think Goff is going to have a better rest of the season. But I'm willing to move off Goff and find something else somewhere and package out and get something else to fill your roster. Carson Wentz, sell him. He's a QB9 right now, but his stock's going down. It looks like he's still going to struggle when the game's on the line and they're close games. So only look for him to produce in games that they're way behind, and that's hard to depend on. So I'd sell Wentz, sell him while his QB is at 9. He's in the top 10 right now. Again, try to sell him and get Brady or something. I think that's going to help you more and be more consistent as the season goes. The running backs, top running back sell is going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's a running back 4 right now. This weekend, he played 56% of snaps, and he got 21 touches. His efficiency is still sky high. He scored 22 points, but he's got a tough schedule coming up. And I don't know if that efficiency is still going to hold up. I know we've been saying it for weeks that it should collapse, but it hasn't yet. It's only a matter of time. He's still splitting carries with 2 other guys. Pacheco's looking decent. They spread the ball around so much. So go ahead and move Clyde Edwards-Helaire. See if you can get an Alvin Kamara. See if you can move over, package him up. See if you can move up and get Mixon. But I'm willing to move off of Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now while his value is sky high. Said Chubb, just like Mahomes, he's the top guy. He's a running back 1. But there are going to be weeks that's going to favor Kareem Hunt. There are going to be games they get behind. They may forget Chubb. It's going to happen. But he's averaging 22 points per game. They use him in almost every game with the same workload. But you are going to have those down games. And you have guys like Alvin Kamara coming back who have elite usage. See if you can trade Chubb off, get Alvin Kamara and a wide receiver somewhere that can help you. You may be able to have somebody who values Chubb that much. But in PPR, I think I'd be fine with moving back to Kamara, moving back to Cook, and let somebody else have Chubb and let you get 2 players to make your roster stronger. Devin Singletary, he's a running back 23. I just sold Singletary this week in Dynasty to somebody who could use him for the season. He's going to continue to get usage. He's still going to score points. But I don't know if he's going to continue to get 88% of snaps. He got 16 touches, and he scored 24 points the week before. He scored 11 points this past weekend. 11 is going to be about his average, probably. I would say his ceiling is going to be around 15 to 16 if he scores a touchdown. But Singletary is going to have games where he's sort of going to disappear. They're going to get into more passing situations where they're looking downfield. Josh Allen's going to run the ball in the red zone. They still tend to use Zach Moss. They're still going to work James Cook in there. So if you can sell Singletary while his value is high and he's getting this kind of snap share, go ahead and move Singletary and try to move up to a Joe Mixon or something in a package. Rashad Penny, running back 24 on the season. He played 69% of snaps this past weekend. Got 18 touches, he got 29 points, 2 touchdowns. He got no passing work. He had one big run that went for a touchdown. That's not going to happen every week. They still have Kenneth Walker working his way up, and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop for Penny to get hurt again. So if you can sell Penny now, move up, I'd go ahead and do it. Package him up with a wide receiver, maybe try to go get an A.J. Dillon, reach for the stars. But get rid of Penny, try to find an improvement, more reliable running back. Wide receivers, I'm willing to sell Hollywood Brown. He's a wide receiver 6 right now. He's getting 11.5 targets a game. He's averaging 19 points a game. I like Hollywood Brown. I think he's going to continue to be a really good receiver, a must start almost just about every week. But DeAndre Hopkins is coming back. He's going to take some targets. They're going to have to choose if they cut off the deep shot with Brown or if they double team on Hop. I expect Hop to have good production. So I think Brown may take a slight step back. So maybe you can sell him right now while he's a top 7, top 8 wide receiver and get something that may be a number 1 down the line, maybe Devontae Adams or something like that. So go ahead and move him if you can in a package and, find something else. Debo had a big week. He scored 24 points. He's the wide receiver 17 on the season. He's averaging 15.5 points per game. This is another guy I'm just waiting for the injury to happen. I know you don't want to see these guys get injured, but he's got the history, and I tend to always look back at it. So if you could move Debo while he had the big week, maybe go get Devontae Adams, maybe, go get Higgins, catch somebody who's similar production and find somebody who values Debo a little bit more. Maybe you can get an extra piece thrown in. Josh Reynolds is doing really well lately. He's a wide receiver 25. He got 10 targets the week before. He got 8 targets this past weekend in week 4. He's averaging 13.5 points per game. I don't think this production is going to continue. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been banged up. He missed the game. DJ Shark's been a little banged up. You're going to have Jameson Williams coming back. Swift's been banged up. They're starting to get Hawkinson involved while Swift's out. So look for Reynolds, his production to come down, his snap share to come down a little bit, and wait for an injury to happen before you try to have him on your roster again. But right now, try to sell him, package him up while he's having a couple of really good weeks, and see if you can get an upgrade. Chris Godwin, go ahead and sell Chris Godwin. 83% of snaps on his game back. He got 10 targets. He's got an easy schedule coming up, so it may be a good selling point for somebody to maybe move up at wide receiver. But he's still dealing with another knee issue. They put him in a blocking situation on goal, and he slipped up, getting pushed around by a linebacker. I'm afraid that he's going to continue to get beat up a little bit this season. He may be in and out, kind of like Julio does. So maybe move off of Godwin, try to find somebody a little more reliable, see if you can move him over and get a Higgins who's playing really well. Maybe package Godwin in like a Penny or a Singletary and go get a Higgins package. Moving on to tight end, we got Hawkinson. I'm willing to go ahead and sell Hawkinson. He just had a 40-point day, 12 targets. The problem is, like we said, Shark's banged up, Amon-Ra's out, Swift's out, Jameson Williams is going to be coming back. Go ahead and move Hawkinson while he had the big week. He may have another one at some point, but it didn't look like when their offense was fully clicking that they were focusing on him. So sell Hawkinson while you can, while his value is sky high. I'm willing to move back and go get a Goddard or try to move over and get a Schultz and a wide receiver, a Schultz and a running back, and use this opportunity to fill your roster. And another tight end I'm willing to sell is Zach Ertz. He's the tight end 4 right now. He's got some killer efficiency going, but D-Hop's going to come back. They're going to have Connor, who's I think is going to get his groove going. I think he's going to start looking a little better. He may even steal some targets. He's averaging 14, 15 points per game. I think it's possible that efficiency comes down a little bit. Maybe he has a couple of weeks where his floor, his ceiling might only be that week, 8 points, 9 points. If you can package him out and get, like we said before, go get Pitts, Goddard, Schultz, and a piece. See if you can sell Ertz as the tight end 4 right now, and see if you can benefit from the high usage right now. All right, guys. Last up, we got the sits and starts of the week. We're going to start out with quarterback sits. I'm going to sit all the Saints quarterbacks this week. I don't care who plays. They play against Seattle. Favorable matchup, but they have Alvin Kamara back, and we don't know what's going on with this offense right now. Winston is expected to score 22 points if he plays. Andy Dalton, I expect to be around 18 points. I'd go ahead and sit them this week. Wait to find out what's going on with that offense. I think even Michael Thomas is questionable for the week. Landry's questionable for the week. Go ahead and wait on the quarterbacks in New Orleans right now. Mac Jones, he's coming back from this injury. He may play this week, but if he does, don't start him this week. He's playing against Detroit. Not a great defense. They may score some points, but I think this is going to be one of those games where they take the pressure off of Mac Jones, don't aggravate the injury, and they pound it with Stevenson and Damian Harris. I think this could be one of those games where he throws the ball 5 to 10 times, and they just pound the ball 40 times a game. So go ahead and sit Mac Jones. Don't put him in your Superflex this week. Running backs. I'm going to go ahead and sit the Los Angeles Rams running backs. Akers is expected to score 11 points. Henderson's expected to score 10 points. That might be their ceiling this week. They're playing against Dallas. Dallas has a good defense. I'm not trusting this backfield right now. I'm not trusting this entire offense right now. If it's not Cup, try to avoid him. Tyler Algier, he's playing against Tampa Bay. We know Cordarrelle Patterson went down. Algier had a good game last week. He's expected to score 9.5 points. That might be his ceiling. So don't play Algier yet. Wait to see how this offense goes without having Cordarrelle. And just wait on Algier until he gets going. He's a rookie. I don't know if he takes over in his first game. Caleb Huntley might even get some touches. So just hold off on Algier for now. Chase Edmonds, playing against the Jets. The Jets have a chippy defense. Edmonds has been struggling. So I'm just willing to avoid Edmonds right now. He's expected to score 12 points, but I'm just not trusting him. Just go ahead and sit him. Wait to see what they're going to do between him and Mostert. And maybe towards the end of the season, he'll get more usage in the PPR game. Wide receivers, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen might be back. He might play. Don't start him yet. He has bad history of coming back, like we said last week. He'll come back that first game. He'll re-injure in the first 2 plays, and he won't play. Let's wait and see if he's healthy. Let's see him produce, and let's wait to start him. I don't think he's going to score this 15 points that he's projected. Hunter Renfrow might be back from a concussion. Playing against Kansas City, he's expected to score 11.5 points. I want to go ahead and wait. I want to see how his target share falls with Matt Collins, Devontae Adams, Waller all healthy. Going to go ahead and wait. I like Renfrow, and I think he's going to have some good games. But I want to wait till he gets healthy, make sure he's going to get it back into the target tree, and I'm not going to risk it this week. Allen Robinson versus the Cowboys. I'm just about done with Allen Robinson. He's bottom of the league in separation. He's expected to score 11 points. He's averaging 6 points. Don't play Allen Robinson yet. Just avoid this offense at all costs unless it's Cooper Kupp. Again, MVS. I've said MVS is a sit every week. He's yet to score 10 points. The highest he got was like 9.1. He's expected to score 11.8 points again. I'm not trusting it. Let him have that boom week on your bench. Find a guy who you know is going to get the ball every week. Tight ends, we got Pat Fryermuth. He's playing against Buffalo. Buffalo's got a decent defense. They play the tight end pretty well. They've got a new quarterback coming in. We don't know where the targets are going to go. Tight end may be his friend, may not be his friend. We're going to find out, but I'm willing to wait a week. He's expected to score 9 points. I think he can find that production elsewhere this week. Dalton Schultz, he's a big buy for me, but I think this first week against the Rams, you can hold off. Cooper Rush is still at quarterback. We don't know that Cooper Rush likes to target the tight end. He's expected to score about 10 points, but I'm willing to hold off on Schultz this week, but still go out there and try to buy him for the future. Our starts, we're looking at quarterback. I'm willing to start Jacoby Brissett in the Superflex this week. They're playing against the Chargers. He's usually a game manager, but I think they're going to have to score points, and they may have to lay off Chubb a little bit this game. He's expected to score 15.5 points. I think he can get into the 20 range here and be worth a Superflex consideration. Ryan Tannehill, he's playing the awful Washington football team, or Washington Commanders, sorry. He's expected to score 19 points. I think he can hit that or do better. I think this is going to be one of those weeks where Tannehill has one of his big weeks before he fades off a little bit. So go ahead and start Tannehill in your Superflex this week. Running backs, Kareem Hunt. I think this is going to be a Kareem Hunt game versus the Los Angeles Chargers. He's expected to score 11.2 points. I think they're going to have to keep up and score some points with the Chargers. So expect Hunt to get some passing work, maybe even in the red zone. So expect Hunt to be a good start this week. Khalil Herbert, Monty still might not be playing. They're playing against Minnesota. Not a scary defense. He's expected to score 10.9 points. He had 100 yards this past week. I expect Khalil Herbert to continue to get usage, and I'm going to start him until Monty comes back. Damian Harris versus Detroit, and Stevenson versus Detroit. As I said before, I think this is going to be one of those games where they pound the ball versus a bad defense. They're going to have to score some points, so they may use him in the passing game a bit as for dump-offs for Mac Jones. Damian Harris is expected to score 11.8 points. Stevenson is expected 12.9 points. He gets used more in the passing game. I'd go ahead and start them both this week. You can play him as a running back and a flex if you have both of them. But go ahead and play him, and I think it's going to be a good matchup versus Detroit. Jamal Williams, Swift is still banged up. He may play. He probably won't play. They have no reason to really play him with the way Jamal Williams plays. He's playing against New England, not a very scary defense anymore. He's expected to score 11.5 points. I think he can crush that. This past weekend, he had 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. He does get used in the passing game a bit. Go ahead and play Jamal Williams. He's a good running back, and I think he's going to get used this week. Wide receivers, we got Gabe Davis. He's playing against Pittsburgh. Past few weeks, it looked like he was still kind of recovering from his injury. Few targets went to IR and Jamison Crowder. I think Gabe Davis gets back on track this week. He has a full practice log this week already, so expect Gabe Davis to come back and be able to score the 13.5 points he's projected this week. Amari Cooper versus the Chargers. As we said with Brissett, they're going to have to keep up with the Chargers, I think. And he's expected to score 13.5 points. He only had 1.9 versus Atlanta, but they used Chubb a whole lot. They didn't need Amari Cooper. Expect Amari Cooper to get back on track this week with Brissett and Hunt and score a few points this week and beat that projected. Robert Woods, Treylon Burks is going to be out for a few weeks. They don't really have anything else. Robert Woods could just get production off of constant targeting. They're playing against an awful defense in Washington. He's expected to score 13 points. I think him and Tannehill will have a good game this week. I think you could be looking at about 18 to 20 points from Robert Woods, maybe a touchdown, and maybe 10 to 12 targets. Devontae Parker playing against Detroit. I'm not big on keeping Parker long term, but again, I think this is going to be a running game where they pound the ball, get into the red zone. Maybe when they get close to the end zone, they look for big body Parker for the touchdown. So I think against Detroit, bad defense, I think Parker has a chance to maybe get 40, 50 yards, but a potential of 2 touchdowns. So I think it'd be worth putting in your flex because I think he can beat the 9 points he's projected. At tight end, Evan Ingram. If you're struggling at tight end, you're cycling guys down week to week, switching between commits and things of that nature, go ahead and play Ingram against Houston this week. I think you can play him in 12 to 14 team leagues. They spread their usage around game to game. It could be an Ingram game this week against a poor defense. He's expected to score 9 points. If he gets a touchdown, I think he can beat that. So go ahead and play Ingram if you have to in your tight end spot. Njoku, just like Amari Cooper, just like Hunt, just like Brissett. They're playing against the Chargers. I have a feeling they're going to have to keep up in this game. Not going to be asked to run block. He's projected to score 9.5 points. I think you can get this, especially if he gets a touchdown. You could be looking at another 15 to 20-point game out of Njoku. Cameron Brate, if it's an emergency situation at tight end, you need a guy to put in. You have Godwin banged up, Julio Jones, no talent. They're playing against Atlanta. Njoku just had a good game against Atlanta. I think he can beat that 7.5 points that he's projected. Brady still targets him in the end zone. So if you really need a tight end, I think you can squeeze Brady in there this week in a 12-14 team league. So that's it, guys. That's our sits and starts of the week. That's our buy lows and sell highs. As I said, stick around. We're hoping to get some guests on the show. If you have any questions, you can email me at laughingmanfb@gmail.com. If you want to roast me, have any suggestions for the channel, or sit-start questions, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I'll respond to everything anybody has. So we'll see everybody again on Tuesday when we do waivers. Until then, guys, good luck.